Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is November 10th, and right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. Got British Columbia, Washington, Oregon here. Check out our storm system out over the Gulf of Alaska. This will be moving through British Columbia, casting a powerful pressure gradient across some of the Pacific Northwest. We'll take a look at those wind speeds here in a moment, and then we're going to have another system that rolls in Sunday night into Monday for another shot of precipitation here across the area. And as always, we will take a look at the extended forecast as we go through the video here today. Take a look at some of this cold air spilling out over the Gulf of Alaska and see a few lightning flashes out there. Could be a thunderstorm or two into the region here over the next day or two also. And just a thanks to everybody out there who's become a subscriber or a member and come back to watch these videos daily. Can't do it without you. Much appreciated. Thank you very much, everybody. Now, taking a look at SeaTac, 33 miles per hour so far this season. That is the peak gust there. And it did some tree damage out there and some nuisance power outage as well. Remember that speed when we look at the wind speeds here in a moment. But look at Bellingham, 43 so far this season. Now, what does that mean? If you guys have been watching that video, how strong was that wind? You'll know that when you go from like 33 to 47, you're doubling that wind pressure force. And so, yeah, we could get some mid 40s here across the Puget Sound. That would be twice as strong as any gusts we've gotten so far this year. Bellingham checking in at 43, and you could get some 50 plus mile per hour gusts here. And if you get up towards 60, you're almost doubling the strength of that 43 mile per hour gust for Bellingham as well. Now, back into the forecast here. As you can see, Spokane, Ritzville, we've been uptrending some of these wind speeds here for eastern Washington. Heads up, folks. Tri-Cities, Walla Walla, Klein for some low 40s. Yakima and Ellensburg a bit more sheltered here, but just in the higher terrain off to the west a bit. It's going to be some pretty big winds, especially across the ridge tops out there. Could be going over 60 miles per hour. So heads up for these gusty winds coming across the area as we go through the day tomorrow. Now looking at western Washington, we got winter storm warnings, we got wind advisories. I think that Everett needs to be included in that because some gusts likely coming in the 50 plus mile per hour range there. And also once we get into the mid 40s here across some of the Seattle Metro, Tacoma, Olympia, it's going to cause some issues, some potential power outages as well. Still got leaves on the trees out there. So it's kind of right on the borderline there on whether or not I think they should put out a wind advisory, but we'll see what they do. Here's that winter storm warning for the North Cascades, mainly above 4,500 to 5,000 plus feet there. 1 to 2 feet of new snow, winds gusting as high as 50 miles per hour. Does include the Mount Baker ski area, and this will go through 10 p.m. tomorrow. If you want a nice, affordable home weather station, click on that link down below to save 10% off. This station does quite well against much more expensive weather equipment here. So, yeah, go ahead and give it a try. It's much more fun to watch the weather roll in when you've got a weather station at your home. Looking at the European model here, this is last night's run. So you can clearly see this storm system rolling in here, deep low over the Gulf of Alaska. And look at this pressure gradient really tighten up as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning. Some pretty good precipitation coming for some of the higher terrain. Strong frontal system will be passing as we go through tomorrow morning as well and continue on into the future a little bit more here. And you can see on Sunday another storm taking its aim here at the Pacific Northwest. Another nice slug of moisture with that one as we go through Monday morning also. And then we take a big trough here off the west coast of North America as well. And that's about where the European as of last night ends. We'll look at the extended forecast here in a few minutes. Now looking at the European total precipitation in inches. Let's put it into motion here. And you can see this precipitation really start up as we go through tonight and overnight tonight, and big amounts for some of the Cascades, coastal ranges, especially up through British Columbia, Vancouver Island, and the higher terrain. Lesser amounts down through Oregon here, but still the coastal range getting a nice shot of precip here. Rain shadowing effects for eastern Washington and Oregon. Then that secondary system comes rolling in here as we go through Sunday night into Monday morning, probably putting Seattle up over an inch of precip, Portland right around an inch there as well. But again, higher terrain, better amounts. You can see some of that rain shadowing effect across some of the San Juans here, Whidbey Island, and some of the central Puget Sound as well. Now, looking at the composite reflectivity on this morning's HRRR, the high-resolution rapid refresh model. This runs every single hour, but every 6 hours it goes out 48 hours. So let's go ahead and see what this frontal system looks like according to the high-resolution model. And as we get on in towards very early Saturday morning, look at this frontal system come rolling across. You might get woken up by some pretty heavy rain with this frontal system as it rips across western Washington into the Cascades here, and then some showery activity going on through Saturday. Could kick off a thunderstorm there as well. And then you can see some residual showers as we go on in through Saturday evening. Now, looking at lightning flash density potential here on the European, this is not the main threat. As you'll see here, maybe a few flashes out there, but again, not a widespread lightning storm coming in here. But again, we could have a few lightning strikes, so just have a heads up for that. This is not the main threat, though. It's going to be the wind coming up here and some of the heavy precipitation. Day 1 thunderstorm outlook does include Northwest, Oregon, Washington, and this will continue on into Saturday also. So looking at the NAM 3KM, this is accumulated max 10-meter wind gusts. You can see the central Puget Sound getting up. Like I said, 47 is over twice as strong as 33 miles per hour, and that's the previous high gust we've got so far this season. You can see Tacoma and Olympia checking in low mid 40s as well. But look, when you go north towards Everett, you could be pushing 50 miles per hour. Bellingham 56. Some of the San Juans, Whidbey Island, big gusts too. Southeast of British Columbia, some of the coastal areas gusting up towards 50 miles per hour. And watch out if you're off in the backcountry, the Cascades, Washington, Oregon, British Columbia, especially the ridge tops out there. You could be pushing 60 plus miles per hour, and you can see some nice gusty winds there for eastern Washington, also approaching 50 miles per hour. This is the HRRR, even a little bit stronger with some of these gusts. It shows the Seattle Metro at about 50 miles per hour, Everett 55, Bellingham 60. It may be overdoing some of this here, but we got to pay attention to this because, there's still a lot of leaves on the trees here, and some of the vegetation is in a weakened state. It's been pretty darn right dry here. We've just, in the last month or so, started to moisten things up with the precipitation. So some of the vegetation is still weak out there. And look across, again, the higher terrain, the Cascades of Washington, Oregon. If you're in the backcountry on some of the higher elevations, watch out when this storm rolls through. You could be pushing 60 plus miles per hour, and as well as along the coastline there also. Now, looking at the European, this is pretty typical. It usually shows a little bit lower amounts, but still showing 57 for Bellingham. That would be no joke. Straight at Georgia, big gusts coming in up towards 50 for the Washington coast as well. So pretty similar picture as the NAM and the HRRR, just lesser amounts, which is typical on the European model. Now, let's look at the timing on the wind speeds here as we go. This is the NAM 3KM. Here we go. As we go through the afternoon and evening tonight, you can see it really start to pick up here with some southeast winds through the Strait of Georgia, out across the open water here, the Whidbey Island, San Juans here, and then you see it really pick up here across some of the central Puget Sound as we go to the very late night hours tonight into tomorrow morning, and you'll see that frontal system cast down across Washington, Oregon there as well, and then these winds really get gusty across some of the Cascades and the higher terrain. Eastern Washington probably looking at late morning for the peak wind gusts as we go on in through tomorrow morning there. Now, taking a look at CTAC, there's the European model. We've been watching this for the last few days, and you can see there is a handful of members still that show 50 plus mile per hour gusts as we go on in through tomorrow morning. The control right now at 43, which is a pretty decent gust in its own right. This is looking at the NAM 3KM, and you can see just after 10 p.m. we start getting some 40 plus mile per hour gusts here on the NAM. And, these can be in error several hours either way here. So just watch out as we go through this evening, overnight into tomorrow morning for some gusts exceeding 40 miles per hour for some of the Seattle Metro. Now, looking at the HRRR, actually shows a bit stronger. And as you get towards midnight, it actually shows a 49 mile per hour gust. Maybe overdoing it a little bit there. Now, this is the European for Bellingham. Check it out. The mean is into the lower 50s here. Some of the gusts are up towards 60 miles per hour. And as you can see, most of them do show in excess of 50 mile per hour gusts incoming here for Bellingham International Airport. And this is looking at the NAM. Check it out. I mean, you're getting up towards the mid 50s here, and some of these wind gusts in the overnight and early morning hours. And even the HRRR shows even stronger, but I think it might be overdoing some of this. And you almost hope so at that point, because you're looking at gusts getting up towards 63 on the latest HRRR, or one of the most recent HRRR runs there, the 14Z run. So interesting stuff there. Friday Harbor, big gust out there. If you guys are riding the ferries on in through tonight and tomorrow morning, watch out for those gusty winds. Snohomish County, Payne Field, look at the control run at 52 and some gusts even higher. And you can see the mean into the lower 50s there. This is looking at the HRRR, the high resolution rapid refresh, showing those gusts up over 50 miles per hour, probably in the early morning hours there. It might be overdoing this a little bit, but you got to still pay attention. Whidbey Island, 52 there on the control, and you can see most of the ensemble members do show 50 plus mile per hour gusts and the mean into the lower 50s. Also, Spokane, nice blustery conditions rolling in during the day tomorrow. Also, as you can see, the control run showing 45 or 46 miles per hour. Tri-Cities, a little bit less the further south you go, but still a blustery day as we go through tomorrow. Olympia clocking in at 45 there as well. Could cause some nuisance power outages. Tillamook, just kind of a typical blustery November storm down the Oregon coast. coast, nothing too extreme. Portland right now showing 38 with potential maybe a little bit higher there, but probably gusting just into the 30s. Typical blustery November day. Now looking at the European yesterday afternoon, we got Alaska here. There's Washington and Oregon. Pacific Ocean would be here. So here goes our system as we roll on in through Saturday, moving through. Then you see the trough really carve out over the west coast of North America. And that's going to bring one more round of precip here, at least into the Pacific Northwest. And then we've got some polar lobes trying to swing down at us, bringing additional systems as we go through the extended forecast here. But things have been changing quite rapidly, looking off into the extended forecast. But then you see a very interesting system there that keeps showing up from time to time in some of the extended runs, although it is 10 days out. That would be a particularly strong storm if that were to verify. So we'll just continue to watch that. It's in fantasy land right now. Plenty of time to look at that as we go day by day. As you can see, some troughing across Alaska and the Gulf of Alaska keep things active as we go through the later portions of November. We'll look at the GFS here in a moment also, starting now. Actually, this is the 12Z run, and this is running as I am talking. So let's go ahead and update it and make sure we have the entire run in here. Here goes the system bringing the strong winds as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning right there. And then you see the trough drop down across the west coast. One more shot of precip as we go through Sunday night into Monday. And then let's see what the GFS shows. It wants to swing another little short wave down through here at us. But then it builds a ridge. Look at that. We got a ridge going here for a few days. Might get a nice break. Gulf of Alaska troughing tries to get going again. But yeah, a little bit. Actually, it's kind of a zonal flow there. But we'll see how this goes. Once you get this far out in the GFS, it is notoriously unreliable. But yeah, that would be kind of an interesting ridge building up there. It probably brings some fog, widespread fog to the area. But you can see the big model disagreement as we go out towards the end of November. This is looking at total snow on last night's European run. So I want to show you guys what's coming up here as we go on into tomorrow morning. You see the big snowfall amounts across, again, mainly 5,000 feet plus across the North Cascades. But you can see places like Mount Rainier, once you get a little bit of elevation here, you're going to be getting some nice snowfall. Snoqualmie Pass not doing too bad. So I-90 is probably going to be just okay going through this weekend. Stevens Pass, a little bit more sketchy. Some snow could be accumulating on the roadway out there. And this goes through about Monday afternoon. Maybe some snow for the highest peaks there of the Oregon Cascades. Also better amounts up across British Columbia. And the landslide index doing okay right now. We'll see how much precipitation falls here over the next couple of days. Doesn't look like too extremely wet though, although probably by Monday afternoon we're looking at another inch for the Seattle area here. So keeping things a little bit interesting, but not doing too bad across a lot of the sound right now. Here's the 8 to 14 day precipitation probability outlook through November 23rd. Kind of a little bit of an above average signal there. And it is our rainy time of the year, so it's a little bit noteworthy. This is the 8 to 14 day temperature probability outlook, and kind of equal chances there. As you can see, cooler weather as a trough may remain down across some of the southwest USA. But yeah, interesting stuff coming in here tonight, folks. So just be prepared for those strong winds. Sometimes the European model, it underdoes these speeds sometimes, and the HRRR hits it, nails it head on, or sometimes the NAM does. And you can see there was some model disagreement. There's a big difference between a 40 mile per hour gust and a 50 mile per hour gust. So I'm going to put that link down below to the left so you can watch my video on how strong was that wind, and you get a picture of just the difference in some of the wind speeds. Because as I showed you at the beginning of the video, 33 miles per hour, and you jump to 47, you double the wind speed force. You double the force of the wind when you go from 33 to 47 here. So just kind of a heads up for that as we go through. This is going to start this afternoon, this evening, tonight, and into tomorrow morning for Western Washington, and continue on across Eastern Washington as we go through tomorrow. So anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. I may do another video tonight, or maybe even a live stream, and we'll kind of try to look at what the models are seeing coming up here. And of course, we'll always check out the extended forecast. Looks like some interesting weather may continue on in through November. Pretty typical stuff for November, but it's been, we've been above average a lot of the areas precipitation wise, and we need it. We've had some drought here over the last few months, and this will definitely help to beat that drought. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. I might see you again later on here today, and if not, definitely by tomorrow morning. So hope you guys are having a good day, and I will talk to you guys later.